So I stumbled on this thread written by a former Guerrilla Games developer back in 2020, and I have to tell you guys, this thing is the gift that keeps on giving. It exposes hyper PlayStation fans, it exposes hyper Xbox fans, it exposes pretty much how people felt just a few years ago about games going to other platforms. And there are people who are elements on the channel who will constantly continue to pester me like I'm doing something wrong, pointing out that, hey, these companies are running around looking for money instead of them to actually talk about the matter at hand. For the most part, many of them would jump into all kinds of weird insults and thinking that they're doing some console war playground BS. I really want to go ahead and now take this particular tweet and extract a lot of material from it, because this thread really did show something that I'm very, very interested in pointing out very soon. The very first thing that this particular thread showed was, number one, when Horizon Zero Dawn was announced to go for PC, there were a good number of PlayStation fans who saw that announcement as being the thing that diminished the PlayStation platform. They said that it devalued their brand, the brand of PlayStation, which leads me to actually understand now that PC was seen as a threat by many PlayStation players. It's only 4 or 5 years later that we've now seen a lot of PlayStation players who come to this console conversation, and I think some of them in bad faith, try to, in a sense, rewrite history to make it seem like, oh, there was never a time where we thought, that this was actually the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? PC is different. It's not a competitor. But that's not what you guys thought it was 5 years ago. And what's crazy is this was during the PlayStation 4 days. This was not even at a time where, things were kind of weird. Like, I have this audience member who is constantly on the keyboard. There is not a time that I make a video that they don't show up. They said it's okay. This is to the so-called article that Paul Tassi wrote, Satya Nadella's comments, all of this stuff. Like, oh my gosh. This person said, it's okay, fellow bots. Don't despair. I know it looks bad. All the games. This is so funny. All these bot influencers trying and then in parentheses lying to calm them down. When you have to work this hard to change people's minds, maybe there's a problem. What is this problem that this person is citing? That some Xbox games are going to PlayStation. Can you imagine somebody saying this when 4 years ago or 5 years ago, depending on when these tweets, March 13, 2020. This person here on Twitter said this there, and then they referenced this Guerrilla developer who was a producer at the time, I think. He said, I as a consumer feel hurt by the respective fact the choice of Sony console. Wow. In my case, it was solely and exclusively because of the platform's exclusive games. Knowing that these will no longer be exclusive, I feel that my investment was a mistake. So this audience member is mocking Xbox people for actually feeling the same way on the Video Game High School channel while I'm showing that, hey man, the gaslighting is not working. I even just made a video where I showed that there were Xbox fans who were also championing this and saying, when everybody plays, it's a good thing. I saw some of them. I put them in the other video. And I hope these people are not going back now to complain about Xbox games potentially going to PlayStation, because if that is the case, then we're probably going to see a little bit of hypocrisy. Maybe they may go delete their old tweets, or maybe they've changed their position. Well, this is very interesting. So these people that are constantly saying these things, it's just very funny. Like another one said something along the lines where they were basically prodding and questioning me. And this one was very interesting. They said, so you don't think there's any difference with PlayStation sending its games to, to PC compared to, Xbox sending its games to PC day one, whereas on the PlayStation side, it's delayed? And I was looking at the question going, what is the difference? Because at the end of the day, if you claim that it diminishes the brand in terms of that, it's not by them putting their games on PlayStation that diminishes the brand. It's by them actually having put their games on other platforms. So PlayStation players already felt like this 4 years ago. It's somehow this new conversation that's trying to basically go ahead and rewrite it. Somebody here said, please never classify your game as only on PlayStation in future. Apparently, Sam, you don't understand what only means. This other person replied and said, it's not about the betrayal. It's about the false advertisement, if you're British, advertisement, if you're American, you guys did by putting only on PlayStation on its box. If it was planned for PC, then it should have been removed. Someone should sue you and file a lawsuit against you for this level of false advertising. Whoa! This person said the gamers stay true to the console and the game. There's passion and love towards it, and you better care about us, because without us, your exclusives, this person is writing, would not be a huge success that it is today. So clearly, PlayStation fans, you were upset. Another person said this. Please tell me what only on PlayStation means. F you. You're an effing liar. It's not personal, and it's that you did tell us a lie. Son of... They were not happy. They were not happy. This person had to come in and say, I mean, if someone really loves the game, wouldn't he or she be happy about the PC port so they could enjoy better performance or even better graphics? I guess some people just need some stupid superiority. That's all. This person said, and why the F I bought a PS4 version if it's not only on PlayStation? I can play it on PC with 4K FPS. This person says, I wonder how many gamers are willing to pay for the PlayStation without the exclusive. So what you guys are telling me is these PlayStation fans actually think that if PlayStation didn't have exclusives, not on PC or Xbox or anywhere, just if PlayStation absolutely lost its exclusivity to anywhere, that it really did devalue the PlayStation's brand in their eyes, that all they were gunning for was their console based on exclusivity. If this is the case, then I strongly believe that many PlayStation fans do not have a case against Xbox players. And those Xbox players that are actually complaining about these changes, you also do not have a case, because Xbox players tried to tell the PlayStation players that they were overreacting back then. This thread has hundreds and hundreds of comments. And don't worry, I'll be picking through them so that we can see. Like somebody asked me today, look at this. They said, so there's no difference between Sony putting a lot of their single player games on PC months or years after console release, or releasing multiplayer games on PC at the same time as the console, and Microsoft releasing all games on PC on the same day as on the Xbox console? I replied and said, what's the difference? I was like, what's the difference? And then they replied me and said, I asked you a question and you're replying me with a question. And I was like, well, tell me the difference. I already told you in the video that there is no difference. And so they went ahead and said, look at this. Look at the reply that I got given. Well, if one company does not release their games day and date with PC except in certain circumstances, and one company does release every game day and date with PC, then that would be the difference. Is that not a difference? It's not. Why? Because even when the games weren't even day and date and they were years later, PlayStation fans did not care. They were just disappointed. They felt betrayed. They felt like they weren't valued. They felt like they had lost something. And many of them claimed that the brand, the PlayStation brand, was devalued by that action from PlayStation. So already, PlayStation fans have already defined exactly what's going on, because 2016, 4 years previous to this, was when Xbox had put its game day and date. So by 2017, Horizon Zero Dawn comes out. By 2020, when the PC version gets announced, PlayStation fans are defining what devalues the console to them. And so now that anybody wants to come out here and make it seem like Xbox putting its games on other platforms is going to somewhat devalue its console, I think we're already too late into the conversation. And so this basically exposes that a lot of people don't necessarily have the same definition or the same perception as to what devalues the brand. So this whole thing is all messed up at the end of the day, because the reactions are so funny to go back and look at. I cannot believe that there are PlayStation fans that actually have the audacity to make it seem like they have some superior stance in this matter. No, you got to go argue with your fellow PlayStation fans and then sort it out before you come out here and start castigating anyone. And for the Xbox fans that are saying that they're disappointed, you also got to go and point out to those Xbox fans who tried to console the PlayStation fans when their games were going to PC, in order for them to basically realize, hey man, some of our games are probably going to be making it to other platforms. And if we actually wanted to go ahead and take a look at what's going on today, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's actually much crazier. Because not only did Horizon Zero Dawn cause a big ruckus, everything else had been causing, a rift, but now most PlayStation fans are somehow okay with it. But here's what you're not going to be allowed to do. To my fellow hyper PlayStation fans, you're not going to be allowed to rewrite the rules and say, well, it's just PC. PC is not a competitor. No, you don't set it up. So you need to stay with it. So here's what I would say. It's either the Xbox fans and the PlayStation fans all come together to agree that their consoles have been devalued by having their games go on PC. That's the standard. I'm taking the PlayStation position. That's the standard I'm taking. Or they back away from that and say, no. It's not going to devalue your console, right? And then they say, well, I guess it's a truce. We call it a truce. Because anybody that tries to extend it now and say, well, no, that's not the case. It's only when it's published on another console is going to lose the plot. Because now everybody done publish games on other consoles. Lego Horizon Adventures is on the Nintendo Switch. So there's nowhere to run. There is nowhere to run. Both companies are chasing the bag anywhere that they can find it. And this is what I've been talking about on the channel for a very long time. I just didn't even know that this material was out there, guys. This thread is gold. It is beautiful to see this stuff play out. I mean, come and look at some of the comments that are being said there. Check this out. This is also another piece of the thread. This is all ongoing. This person said, fine with it coming to PC, but make sure it doesn't get cracked by the PC community. Okay. Hold on. Let me see what that comment is. I think I lost. Okay, there. Make sure it doesn't get cracked cracked and enjoyed by the huge number of pirates in the PC community. And don't forget the nude mods. Those community is going to bring up first. This person said, this is not a question of superiority. The main contradiction is that since your work is going to be logged on to other platforms in the future, why label it as a PS exclusive in the first place? Is it a fun to play word games like limited time exclusivity? The Rangers make more money. The Horizon 2 to the next level in the future. I believe that no player doesn't want to play good games. Players have the right to beat scolded you. Sorry. The key is cheating, not to steal concepts set to the superior. I don't even understand what all this is getting at. So I guess it's a mixed bag. So again, the whole talk about this whole thing on Twitter really does continue to prove that those folk on Twitter that are complaining and, usually making a big loud noise, you're the very small minority in this whole conversation, for real. Because if you all that stink that y'all raised with Horizon, it didn't seem like it did anything. I don't know if it emboldened PlayStation because it didn't do anything. And this is why, for the most part, and I said this, ladies and gentlemen, when people were telling me about, Xbox creators on Twitter that were talking about this whole thing and all, and I was like, man, I don't want to talk, because if I go after their stuff, I would juxtapose it against this and they're going to look bad, even though they may feel differently from other people, right? But this is where we are. So that's how I see it. If I see anybody tell me this, I'm going to link them to this thread so that they can go get an education about it before they come back and start talking. Talk to me in the comment section, guys. Peace out.